Good evening, First Presbyterian Church, family and friends. This is Pastor Matt. The psalmist David writes in Psalm 122 that he was glad when they said unto him, "Let us go into the house of the Lord." In exactly that same heart posture, I come to you this evening to remind you that this upcoming Sunday, we will be regathering for Lord's Day worship at 8:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. By now, I hope that you have received your packets explaining our process either by snail mail or by email. However, I want to really highlight some of the things, some of those guidelines that you have in your packet so that we can over-communicate how important it is that we abide by these DHEC and CDC guidelines, but also that we come with hearts ready to worship. And so you will see there in your packets, I actually have mine right here with some notes further explaining a few things. But you'll see there in your packets that we are taking a phased approach in coming back to church. And why are we taking that phased approach? Because one of the things that we have noticed as a session through this pandemic season is that so many things are uncertain. And so for this season, we are going to have these morning worship services at 8:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. We're not exactly sure when we're going to implement back evening worship, when we're going to implement back Sunday school and things like youth group and food services, but we thought that it was important for us as God's people to gather back together on the Lord's Day for public worship. And so the first thing that we want to re-implement is a regathering of God's people this Sunday. And so as the session continues to monitor this situation, as this pandemic lessens or increases, we will make necessary changes in our phased approach in returning back to full church life. But most importantly, the first thing that we're going to do is worship together on the Lord's Day. And so during this first phase of our back to church plan, we need to remind you that it might be better for you to continue tuning in online. It might be beneficial for you not to be here this upcoming Sunday. If your healthcare provider has warned you of your increased vulnerability during this season of life, please do not feel obligated to come. If you are feeling feverish or sick, or displaying any of the symptoms of the COVID-19 virus, we're asking you not to come. And even if someone in your family or household are experiencing these symptoms or feeling sick, we're asking that you will not come, just to help to, again, flatten the curve, so to speak, of this virus. One of the things that is not going to be available during this first phase of our Back to Church plan is nursery and children's church, but families, don't let that deter you from coming. We love to hear children in our worship service. We love to hear them babble and to attempt to sing along with our hymns. We love to hear them recite the Lord's Prayer alongside of their parents. And so please feel welcome. Please feel comfortable. It's not going to interrupt me. It's not going to interrupt any of our congregants. However, if your child becomes unruly, or if you would like to just slip out while they cry, we are going to open up the fellowship hall for what we will call a crying room for our families if they are needed. Of course, the service will be streamed into that television in the fellowship hall. And let me go ahead and say our ladies' parlor will also be available for those with mobility issues. And so, again, the service will be streamed into the ladies' parlor as normal. Also, you see there in your packet that we are somewhat assigning worship service times according to care groups. Care groups 1 and 3 are asked to attend at 8:30 a.m. Care groups 2 and 4 are asked to attend the 11 a.m. service. And let me briefly explain why we are doing this. It's because we have a seating chart, so to speak. It's because we are not able, according to our guidelines, to be at max capacity or anywhere close to max capacity. And so we are needing to limit our seating And so with our assigning these care groups to these times, we are understanding better how many people will be within the sanctuary. And so if you are assigned 8:30 and you would like to come at 11, please let us know. Please let your care group leaders know. Please let me know so that we can navigate how many people we will have worshiping here during those service times. Also, if you and your family have been visiting us but not yet joined us officially in church membership, please feel free to attend either service. We went ahead and counted you. Don't think you are interrupting our plans in the least bit. We have already counted you for both services. And so you can attend either service that you would like to attend. That does raise a point that we have. Seating is our biggest issue when we come back for worship. You noticed in your packet that you have a seating plan, really a drawing of our sanctuary with the available seats. That can be a little daunting to look at. Don't fear. Don't be anxious about it. I'll tell you how you're going to figure out where you can sit. There will be bulletins in the pews. So if you are able to sit in that pew, you will see bulletins available for you in that pew. If you do not see bulletins in that pew is unavailable for seating. If we do reach max capacity of where we are available to sit, the deacons will assist in some overflow seating that we have already created in our sanctuary. And so do not fear about that issue either. We will help you find a seat within the church at a safe distance. Also, you notice that we will have some different opportunities for exiting and entrance into the sanctuary. All of our doors will be open into our sanctuary, so you won't have to touch any door handles or doorknobs. But you will notice that there are some different options for entering and exiting. Please feel free to use those. It might not be the normal way that you exit the sanctuary, but please feel free to use both entrances and exits to either side of the pulpit and also at the back. We will exit by rows, much like a wedding would. Our deacons will assist in that. Our balcony will go first, and then we will exit by rows. Just be patient, be accommodating, be gracious. We are figuring this out as we go in a lot of ways as well. But please do know we are taking all appropriate measures to make sure that our sanctuary is clean, to make sure our sanctuary is safe. And so if you feel comfortable in coming, please do come. If you would like to even wear a face mask and gloves, please feel free to do so. We're not necessarily requiring them, but they are encouraged because of their benefits to your health and the health of others gathered here. But understand, they are not required in it. But if you would like to wear one, please do so. Also, we wanted to go ahead and begin meeting for midweek prayer meeting there in the fellowship hall. Again, all of the appropriate guidelines and sanitation rules will be in place, but we will be in the fellowship hall for midweek prayer, and even that service will be scaled down a bit. We will turn our attention more to prayer, and so if you feel comfortable in coming during the midweek service, please feel free to do so. Of course, like I've already mentioned, all of our online services are going to continue to be available. We are going to record the service at 8:30, upload that between services so that will be available to you on YouTube and on Facebook as close to 11 as we possibly can. And also that midweek Bible study will continue to be offered online before prayer meeting in case you don't feel comfortable in attending during the midweek. I look forward to writing some more devotionals for you in the next couple of weeks. We are also even working on some devotionals for our youth and some family worship helps for our family. And so ministry within the church is continuing on. However, we are going to scale back our in-person offerings until further notice, except for morning worship and Wednesday night prayer meeting. Please know that we won't pass the offering plate. There'll be designated areas in the sanctuary for you to give your tithes and offerings. We will not have communion while we have these two services. We believe that communion, the Lord's Supper, is a sacrament for the whole body of the church. And so while we are limiting attendance and while we are split into two services, we're not going to participate in the Lord's Supper. But when we come together again in one service, we will re-implement the sacraments. And so we long for that day, just like we longed for the day that we could come back to worship together. Anyways, we are praying towards Sunday. We hope that you are praying towards Sunday. Please be praying for your elders and your deacons as we continue to plan and to execute. We have missed being together. I have missed being with you. I hope that you have felt the same way. And so, pray towards Sunday, and when you attend, please be accommodating and cheerful in spirit. We are taking very serious everyone's safety, but we also want to love being here. And so refrain from shaking hands, refrain from hugging, but friendly, greet one another in the name of the Lord. Feel free to speak to one another outside on the church lawn, and let us come and worship the Lord together in spirit and in truth. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Our hearts are uplifted because soon we will be together again. Blessings to you, grace and peace in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. We look forward to seeing you this Lord's Day. Thank you.